All right, well, I guess we started.
Yeah.
Everyone knows Jake Shumaker. 800-meter runner, absolute dog. Got a
Mr.
lot.
Milliken.
Yep, a lot going on in his life.
Mm-hmm.
You got anything you want to say about yourself, Jake?
Not really.
All right, well, we're just gonna start with the. Well, we're gonna all go, but what is your most embarrassing moment in track? Like whether it was in meet or in practice.
I think you have a good war story from this. So my sophomore year, I have had to apologize to the team 3 times. 2 of the times don't need discussed. We can talk about the funniest of the 3. So we were running through the Decatur neighborhoods, going through West End, and this guy, like, we don't need to talk about who it was. This guy was yelling at us the day before because we were running hills and we were sitting in this front yard. So then the next day, I thought it'd be a great idea to knock over his trash can, which resulted in him coming out and yelling at us and chasing us around, and then ended up getting in pretty big trouble for that one. So that was a pretty big embarrassing moment for me and the team.
Did did he come out immediately when he knocked over? Like, did he?
Yeah,
like watch you guys do it?
So he had a camera outside his house. So he had this camera. So I knock over the trash can, and we like start to like jog away, and then he comes just running out. And he's just screaming and yelling. And I was like, oh wow. And then like, so we just start sprinting for like this park. So we get to the park, and I remember our captain at the time, Garrett Jones, just telling me how much of an idiot I am. And then we just keep running, and then we get back, then we go to the weight room, and then this guy who was on the team at the time, Josh Martinez, comes running into the weight room. He's like, Jake, take off your hoodie. Jake, take off your hoodie. Take off your hoodie. And I'm like, dude, what? He's like, the guy called Craig. The guy called Craig. And I was like, what? So I whip off my hoodie. And then Josh starts explaining that the guy has a video that he sent to public safety of a guy in a white hoodie knocking over his trash can. And he swears it's from the Milliken cross country team. So I whip off my hoodie. Craig comes down and doesn't see it. And then we just kind of like continue on with the rest of our night. And then later that night at like 8 o'clock at night, coach texts the captains and he's like, I just can't get off my mind. You really think our team would have done this? Like, they're saying it was Milliken. So I texted Craig, told him it was me. I just remember he hit me with the one-liner that he would never expect that from me, and that he was disappointed.
I bet that hurt.
So then the next day we went and apologized, and all stood in front of his house and apologized, and pretty much Aiden took the blame.
Wait, how did that work?
Dude, so we're standing across the street from his house, like looking like an army. Like, we have like 20 dudes just standing across the street as he's standing outside of his house. So we walk over, and then a Milliken cop comes, and we're like, all right, here we go. So we're out in the front yard, we're talking, and then like it just kind of like naturally forms that we form like kind of like a U around Aiden, who's just standing by himself in the middle of the U, just with his hands in his pockets. And then the guy like asks if any of us have anything to say, and only Aiden speaks. And he just tells the guy how sorry we are, and then we just continued running, and
now it's lore.
Yeah, now it's lore.
My favorite part of the story is that I can imagine Josh running in like, Jake, take your sweatshirt off.
Dude, it was so funny too because Craig like asked him, he's like, oh, did you guys go over and run at West End? And then Josh and then Dakota Myers, who graduated 2 years ago, both were like, no, we didn't go anywhere near there.
Dang.
So it was pretty funny. It's my most embarrassing moment, probably.
I love that story. All right.
True, guys.
Time to go?
Yeah, you go, Colin.
So mine is, I think it's sophomore year of track in high school.
Oh.
Yeah, I keep some context here. I'm a 300-meter hurler in high school. That was like my thing. Like, just for some reason was decent at it. Also, no one else was on the team. Mentioned hurtling, so I mentioned to my coach. He's like, "Oh, you're doing it!"
Yeah.
And just literally was like, "Go practice hurdles," and I would, and then whatever. So like I was supposed to run it the first meet of the year, sophomore year, and it got canceled for some reason. We don't run it. So second meet of the year is at DMAC, DMAC, and go run there, whatever. Run 300. I do like 2 other events before, and then 300-meter hurdles comes, and make it all the way through. And at this meet, there was like 2 or 3 guys that are like ranked in the state, like absolute studs. I'm running against. I'm dead last. Like it's awful. And make it the very very last hurdle, I fall. And because like I'm the only person doing 300 hurdles, one of the last events, half my team sitting there filming right next to the last hurdle, and so jump over it. I clip it with like my back foot. Like I don't like fall. I just kind of land back on my feet, like defeated. So jump over it. I don't even know if there is a video anymore. Jump over it. My back foot clips. I land. I kind of in a squatting position. I can look down. I look over the camera. I just lightly jog to the finish.
Oh my gosh.
I wanted to quit right there. Just never do 300 hurdles again. But
You did with the track altogether.
maybe honestly at that point.
You ever think about running again? Hurdles again?
And like now?
Yeah.
No, no. I can barely run a 400, let alone.
You'd be like Ashton in that one video.
Probably would.
It would be pretty funny.
All right. Well, my story is mine also happened in high school. I definitely have some in college that I can't think of, but I was a long jumper, and so back then when the spandex, mine were black, but over the crotch was gray.
Oh,
So I'm warming up.
It is
and-
weird.
Yeah. So I'm warming up. And I'm like, I kind of like, I just like feel like I just pinch it real quick, and I realized some pee came out though. So I'm like, I go back, I'm like walking back, I act like I'm about to pump. I look down, I'm like, there's clearly a wet spot there. So I'm like, I can't jump with like that. I just leave them on and I jump. And my coach is like, Caleb, like I didn't jump well,
Yeah.
like, and then he's like, Caleb, why don't you take your shorts off? And I'm like, I can't. Like I'm not going to. So, and I just kept checking and checking, and I didn't make finals that year. Or maybe that was finals. I don't remember, but there was a wet spot. And fun fact, it also happened at Greenville before the 4x1. I ran anyway, but there was a nice little wet spot in my.
Dude, that happens a lot more to me than I would like to admit.
Yeah.
Do you guys wear underwear under your
No.
decks?
Yeah, I do.
What?
That for that exact reason.
Yeah.
But
And that's the exact reason you went.
No, so the exact reason is, this is a TMI on the podcast, but I'm just going to go, is as a male, I am very, very specific on which side it has to be on. It has to be on the left. And whenever I run, it doesn't. And sometimes it goes to the right, and I just feel uncomfortable.
we're talking
So,
about
Interesting.
shaft or balls.
specifically the shaft. Has to be on one side.
Balls on the right side.
And if I don't have like something keeping it there, because
Bruh.
those don't.
Yeah.
And if they do, they're way too tight and they're exposing me. So that's where
My reason was because the pee. So
I don't know. I just feel like it gets way too tight down there if I wear underwear.
yeah, well, that is true. Like I gotta like on the bus ride home, it's very uncomfortable because it's been tight all day. But maybe we should be doing that because you run faster. So
there's been a
Who's
few
trying
times after, specifically the 60, at Wesleyan. There's like 3 different times this year where you end up flipping sides,
Yeah.
and then I'm like awkwardly like trying to fix it, like out in the open. It's
So
like,
a question: have you ever ran with it on the opposite side, and how did you perform?
I don't know about performance, but I know like I remember finishing it immediately. Like I have to fix this. Like I just can't not. But it kind of, I don't know. I don't necessarily focus on it while running that much, but I notice it the second I finish.
yeah. Well, do you guys have like any like superstitions, or maybe not superstitions, but like I think you have to do before you run, or like while I'm in the blocks, I feel like I have to like get one last swallow in before the gun goes off. It's kind of weird. Like I feel like otherwise I feel like I'm gonna choke on my spit. But it's just like random things like that.
Trying to think.
I mean,
I don't know if I have too many superstitions. Like,
they're not really superstition, but just like it doesn't have to be
Like
superstition.
routine type
like,
stuff.
Maybe
Yeah,
think maybe you do it and don't realize,
yeah.
or am I just weird?
I think something I always do is I try to do like a jump and like squat like thing.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like
Oh yeah.
pull the knees up. I don't know if that's really like a superstition, more of like a routine.
Yeah.
Trying to think.
You don't eat like Skittles like Brock
No,
or squat down and look through the hurdles like.
Someone.
No. I'm trying to think. What else do you do? It's a superstition, you think?
Well, not really superstition, but like I feel like I have to get to swallow, and like I'll be
Like
in
a
set, and I'm like
routine.
I gotta swallow real quick, otherwise I'm gonna choke on it. And then I don't know, yeah, just things like that.
I guess something that always happens to me is like I'll feel like so hydrated, do like a great job all week, and then I'll show up like an hour before the race and it's perfectly fine, but then like 5 minutes before I'm just like basically like dry in the mouth. Like it's like I'm like chugging water,
Yeah.
like just like sipping on it like every 10 seconds because my mouth just feels so dry. I guess that happens.
Yeah.
I think the only thing I can think of is like obviously like because it's like a block routine. Like I do the exact same thing every single time. You got to shake
True.
out both legs. And I do like a little bit of a squat, but like right before I crawl back in my blocks, I kind of sit still, take a deep breath, like try to clear my mind.
Yeah. So nothing weird, I guess.
Superstition that I used to do in high school was that I would eat like half a bag of goldfish. Yeah.
Like how soon before the race? Or like...
Dude, like an hour before. It was horrible. Like my stomach would be like hurting. You know the line. I would drink blue Gatorade.
That's
Blue Gatorade
terrible.
and goldfish, and then I'd usually throw it all up after.
That's terrible.
Yeah, and then sophomore year, I just ate a little bit too much goldfish before the race, and it all came up right on the starting line.
Oh goodness.
That was pretty bad. I think like going maybe that into like a superstition thing, like a routine thing that I've started, is like I might have told you guys about this. I put the AirPods in with no music.
Oh yeah, that's the Goggins stuff right there.
Yeah, that kind of goes hard.
You have it like on
Noise canceling.
Oh yeah, noise canceling. Yeah.
So it's like literally like you can't hear anything around you. Well, of course you can hear like the little things,
Yeah.
but like for the most part, it's just like you like the entire time like locked in.
I need it. Like I've done that, but not like on purpose for extended periods of time. Like I need to try that and just like run.
I can't. I have the OG AirPods.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
just
fair.
put them in and still hear everything. You're so pointless.
Yeah, if you ever get them, you should just like try it once. Like even if it's just like strides or something like that.
Yeah.
Just to like wear them and like I feel like you can like really hear your breathing also because it's like only you.
Yeah.
Sorry, what were you gonna say though? Did you?
Well, I was kind of thinking we could go two ways now, but I feel like Colin, you should ask the
Okay.
Yeah.
So I did some research on you before.
Oh wow!
Before you came on.
Oh no!
I
That's
know
nothing crazy.
your world ranking in the 800.
My world ranking in the 800.
What do you think it is? I want you
On
to
World
guess.
Athletics, you have a world.
Yeah, you have a world
profile.
athletics page.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
I did not know that. Maybe like 1,100.
619.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of.
I guessed like 6,000, but then I realized like you run pretty fast, and like there's not a lot of people in the world that really run the 800.
Yeah, true.
So like I was like I think it makes sense.
That's kind of fire, actually.
Yeah. 619th in the world for the 800.
19.
619.
Oh, for the 800.
For the
Nice.
800. Yep.
That's crazy though.
Sorry, I thought you said for the 600, and I was like,
No.
oh, I was like, I didn't know that was on there.
600 you might be up high. I feel like.
Me and Big Al.
But yeah, you have a profile. World
Dude, that's
Athletics.
fire.
Did you not?
What's
know
like
that?
the meat for it? Is
Um,
it show?
I think it's your indoor nationals.
It might
It
be.
Like, that's your indoor rank too.
Oh,
Or,
okay.
I don't know if that's indoor rankings, but it's like just your fastest time. Like
Okay.
I think it might be overall.
Well,
Damn, that's sweet.
I can try to scroll all the way to 619 to see, but
Huh. Okay, fair. That's okay.
yeah, it's not gonna.
That's
It's gonna
okay.
take a while to do that.
That's funny though. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's one of the only things I found. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, my
Like-
research involved looking for that video where you say community. Like,
Yeah.
guys.
Maybe that can get linked or something.
Yeah.
I remember a funny story about that. Whenever I first started talking to Alyssa, her dad like did research on me. So he like looked up my name, whatever, and that was the first video that popped up. So he watched that, and then he like texted her, and he was like, "Yeah, he seems like he's a good guy. Seems very involved in his community." And she was like, "What? Like, what are you talking about?" And then she watched the video, and I was like, "That's pretty bad."
I might pause this pause it right here in the podcast. and pause it now.
Might as well.
All right. Well, I guess we kind of mentioned Goggins earlier, and I just guess I kind of want to ask like when did you get into Goggins? Like, how did you find him, and like how has that helped you, like in your track and or just life in general? I guess.
I think this isn't when I found him, but when I first like kind of like heard about him, it was
Yeah.
probably freshman year. Like Cray, Coach Cray is just big into Goggins and like
Yeah.
saying like to stay harder, like uncommon amongst uncommon. So I think that was always kind of like I was like, oh, this dude's like pretty motivational, or whatever.
Yeah.
Then I was like, oh, like maybe I should like actually read the book instead of just like talking about him.
Like a lot of the team.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It happens. So when was it? Probably sophomore year. yeah, sophomore year after outdoor nationals, I was really disappointed. So I went like super hard during the summer, and I like read the book, did the audiobook and such. Um, so then like last summer, like not this past summer, the one before, read the book, really loved it, like took notes in it, like wrote down quotes, and then kind of like ever since then, like I've like kind of read the second book. I just like really resonate with the first book, I think.
Yeah.
So like I haven't been as engaged in the second book, but the first book was really good. And I think like what I found most passion from it now is like reading it and then like trying to inspire others off of it. So
Yeah.
like giving it to other people to read. I think that's been cool. So like Ben reads it now. And like previous, like Ben was like, "Oh, this
Did
dude's
you
like."
finish it?
I don't think he has yet. I told him he needs to take his time with it though.
Yeah.
I was like, you need to like actually like soak it in
Yeah.
rather than just like read it all in one night. Uh, so I think he just I think he still has it. Actually, no, I'm sorry, he did finish it. He gave it to BMO to read. So I think BMO has it. I don't know if he's read it though. And then what happened? Yeah, but like previous before this, Ben was like, "Oh, he's a hoax. Like, he's just like putting on a front. Like, he didn't
Yeah.
actually do these things. Uh, like his story is like a lie." And maybe not to like that extent, but he's just like, you would post all these challenging questions, like, "What would you think of, like, what would you think of the story if you knew it wasn't real?"
Oh yeah. What would you do? Would you?
Dude, I don't know.
I mean, you could still you could still use it. Like it's worked. It just kind of sucks knowing that he didn't act. He wouldn't have actually done it.
I think a huge part of it that like I think a lot of us like take from it is like knowing that like we can like I don't know like connect with him on this. Yeah, like
Yeah.
like he's been through this pain. Why can't I? But I think like the moment you know it's not true, it's kind of like oh like
Yeah.
treat affection level.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it doesn't come out someday that he didn't do it. But I mean, I've definitely seen some videos. So Ben's just a hater. And
Well, there's also
He likes it now.
There's also results. Like he has at least some of them. Like in
Yeah,
the races,
you
he's
could-
definitely done.
yeah.
Like maybe some of this Navy SEAL stuff you can't like 100% confirm ever, but like
yeah.
the races, he definitely done.
I agree. I mean, I think it's definitely been real. I think the whole idea was like, is the idea based on like actually staying hard, or is it like, or like do you resonate with it more because like someone actually went through this?
Yeah.
That's how I was thinking about it, and I think it's challenging because I don't know like quite what I would think if it just came out someday like on the news, just like breaking news, David Goggins is a hoax or whatever.
I'd honestly be pretty sad.
Oh, I would too.
Yeah.
I'd probably be a little messed up for a couple days.
Yeah.
Just don't talk to me for a few days.
Yeah.
Burn my shirt.
I wouldn't, for real. I probably wouldn't say stay hard or like say any of those things anymore.
For real, yeah.
But
But you could just get killed by trademarks.
yeah. But like so like Goggins is all about like pushing through like adversity and like those moments of pain and stuff. Like has there been like any specific moment like in a race, like a practice where like you really wanted to quit? Or just in life in general, but like you kind of just push through and like you learn something from it? Like,
Oh, definitely. I think like I love like the whole idea of being like being comfortable when uncomfortable, like sort of thing. And I think that like over these past 12 months, like that's definitely been a lot more apparent in my life. Just busier days, like busier practices, more intense workouts. And I think like to get to that next level specifically in running, that like is a very crucial aspect to your training, just because it's like you can't continue to grow if you just continue doing what you've always been doing.
yeah.
Like, you have to challenge yourself in new ways. So I think like each year, like I've definitely understood that more and more, and like made it more of like a training philosophy. Just because you can't get better if you're doing the same workout you're doing freshman year when you weren't fit.
Yeah.
Like there has to be like changes, there has to be tweaks. And I think like definitely Goggins has helped me. Like I think Colin now trains with Caleb and I more of it last year. Caleb and I trained a little bit together. I remember like before reps we'd say like stay hard or like say like motivational stuff. And, like it always make like the next rep easier.
Lots of stuff in the vlogs of that.
Yeah, exactly. And like you get you hype, and like I think like when you're having fun and like when you're like truly pushing through something with someone, like it makes it that much easier.
Facts. I mean, it's been paying off. You're going crazy.
Yeah.
Been going crazy.
I actually have a funny story about like a David Goggins thing too. We were talking about this the other day, me and the distance guys. So it's on Riverview Hill. Um, we in January last year, we did a 3 mile tempo before it. It wasn't that fast, but like it was me, Skaggs, Matsy, and Emerson. And I remember Emerson, it was like 5:30 in the morning. So like Emerson's like he's a little bit out of it, like he's not doing great. So we're just like, come on, like the entire time, like motivating him to come. So like it wasn't like a super fast tempo, but we all stuck together.
Yeah.
So we get to the hill and we do like 3 by Riverview, and then like the whole time like Ben's down there and he's screaming at us, just his head blowing off, whatever. And like this was when we were like peak, like David Goggins, stay hard, like all this stuff. It's like probably like 6:15 in the morning now. Like it's still like the sun's coming up, whatever. So we do the first hill and like we just run through it. And, like I remember like some of the guys were starting to complain, and I was like, come on, like let's go. Like we only got 2 more now. We're almost done. We do the second, and then like we were all just like finished it, and we were like realizing we had 1 left. And I remember like they were like starting to be more optimistic, and I remember just like something like awoke in me, and I just started fucking. Oh, sorry. You beep it out.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's fine.
Okay.
We're just being real, you know.
Okay, true. So then, what happened? Oh, so then something got into me, and we were at the bottom of the hill, and I started screaming. Like I was just like, we were just all screaming like, "Who's gonna carry the boat?" So like we were like pushing each other around. And I remember like we were getting so amped at 6:15 in the neighborhood. Like, and I'm not joking. Like when I say we were screaming, like we were at the top of our lungs yelling. So we're like getting super amped up, and like and then so we'd go, and for the entire hill I'm screaming like just like at them, like at the top of my lungs I'm screaming.
While you're running?
Yes, while I'm running. I swear. You should ask them about it. Like we started on the line, and Skag said within the first 10 steps I was just like 30 meters ahead, like just screaming like. And then like I remember like I finished and I looked down at my watch and I like couldn't believe I like ran that fast.
Yeah.
And I like literally yelled the entire time. Like everyone was definitely awake at that point in the neighborhood.
That's hilarious. It's also nuts because that's kind of what we talked about. Is like when you think you have nothing left, like you can find something.
Yeah.
Like, you guys were like saying like literally 6 in the morning, and that's a funny story though.
Dude, it was just awesome.
You better bring that today.
Are you coming?
Yeah.
I think everybody's coming. I think
Actually,
like the
sent out
whole
a text.
entire X group.
He said it's like he's gonna send the distance guys out on a thing first, and then it's the entire X group to go run there. And so it sounds like it's gonna be like I don't know if LD's gonna be there.
They are.
So it's literally gonna be everyone but short sprint. So like literally everyone but Kemper and Jack. That's literally it.
But apparently we're doing like 500 meters of it. Like
Yeah.
it's before, like when you get to the bottom of that first dip, I think we're stopping either before that or after that. Like we're not going down the big one.
Oh.
But apparently he said he was gonna do that for everyone. But I guess you'll find out.
He
We'll
said-
find out.
Four by review effort will be around 75 to 80 with 5 to 6 minutes rest.
Nice.
The channel or whatever we're calling this, Riverview is 600 meters. That's a giant hill.
Yeah. So champions are made.
Exactly. Dog mentality to go with that.
So speaking of champions,
That'd be crazy though.
you. I guess I did do a little bit more research. I don't remember if it was your athletic.net or it was something, but you were in high school. You only went to state in group events, like you never went individually.
Yeah.
So you went from going individually, or not being able to go individually to state, to going to nationals 3 times. Explain the change.
Dude, I think this goes back even further than that, like 8th grade. I remember like my 7th grade year, I was a miler. Hated the 800 at the time, actually. I remember I made it to state in like IESA or whatever. Went to like the Peoria, East Peoria meet. Had so much fun, but I was like, wow, I really want like a state medal. So I was like so big on like this state medal thing. Like this is what I want to do. Like I need to like I want to qualify individually to earn a state medal. Didn't qualify 8th grade year. Got like 2nd in our sectional, and I think the top kid went. I remember I cried behind this little barn outside our track. I remember the women's track coach was next to me while I was crying. I remember I was so upset. Went into high school and like was more of a soccer player. Freshman year of high school, like ran like 2:18 in the 800, maybe just kind of like. I ran a really good mile, but the 800 wasn't very good. Sophomore year, I kind of realized that like we actually had like a pretty good team, so we could go to state. But like I was still like kind of looking like ahead towards this like individual time, like just because it's like I knew that we could go as like
Yeah.
a team. I just never believed that I could go. We had this guy that was really good. Also, he went Division 1. We didn't win a state medal. Junior year, same situation, pretty much didn't win a state medal. And I think just like that really like defeated me, just because it was like each time like I thought that like as a team we were capable. I never believed in myself individually to do it. Um, and then finally, I thought like senior year was kind of like my time to finally do it. And then like COVID hit, obviously. So there's like that was pretty depressing. I remember this like just like reality set in like before I like committed the Milliken or anything. It was like COVID hit, track was over. I remember I went out there like a couple nights after, and it was pitch black out. Like at like probably 10 or 11 at night. And I just like sat there on the turf and just just like looked at the stars and just like thought. And I remember like the entire time I was like, wow, like that was just gone in like the snap of a second. Like I thought that like I was like, oh, this is just gonna blow over, like kind of whatever. And I remember like the reality kind of set in, like, wow, I'm never gonna like win a state medal, and I'm like not gonna do a college like because at to this point I didn't really know I was gonna run. Like I took a visit to the Milliken, but I wasn't like for sure.
Yeah.
It's like all these things were setting in, and I was like, wow, like this is like over. I was like, I feel like I just like so much like, took this for granted. So I remember like sitting there, and I was like, wow, I have to like continue doing sports. So I was like, I can't just go to some party school or like go to Mizzou or U of I and just like join a frat or whatever. So that's kind of like what led me to go to Milliken. And then like just I think over time, like I think really it was just like finding love for the sport. I think I'd always just kind of did it just because I like thought I was fast, like and could kind of get away with like not putting in too much effort but just racing. But I think like going to that next level, it just became like becoming so much more diligent about everything. Like in high school, like our Mondays, we literally supposed to do like 6 miles, and we'd run a quarter mile, walk 2 miles, and run a quarter mile back. Like it was a joke. Like we were so lazy. It was just like it was like hanging out as friends. But I think like coming here, freshman year was a little bit of a mess. My diet was horrible and stuff, and my sleep schedule was awful. But like the other years though, like definitely like eating the proper food for me, like drinking more water, making sure like 8 hours of sleep is like a priority. Like all these little things like begin to add up. Like all of a sudden when you don't eat right, you probably don't drink enough water either. And then if you're not drinking enough water, like you're probably not getting enough sleep. Like all these little priorities all kind of go together with the same like focus. So like once you do like a couple of them, a lot of the other ones just come naturally. Stretching, AT, being diligent about your form, like all these things, and like they don't take any extra time out of your day. It's just like finding a balance for it all. But I think like qualifying individually was definitely really awesome and like something that I always like dreamed of. But it was almost like it like happened, and like it's one of those things where it was like so cool for like a couple minutes. Like it was like because I think like at that point like I knew like that like I could do it. So it wasn't like just some shock anymore. It was like okay, like this is where I expect myself to be. So I think setting that expectation for myself is what's helped me to go to like 2 more also, is just knowing that like it's not acceptable anymore to just not qualify. Like that's just like that's just what it is. Like it's not like I don't care if I'm 50th on the last weekend, I'm gonna figure out a way to qualify. I don't care if I'm first, like qualifying is like the bare minimum at this point. And then like now I think it's to a point where like the bare minimum should be making the final. So that's definitely helped. But I think something even more like important to me now is like going back and like realizing the enjoyment I had with like a team going, like knowing that like it's not just me. Like I remember like selfishly thinking, I thought it was like kind of cool that Ben and Craig just got to go on their like little trip and like go to nationals together, and it was like just them two like getting the bonding experience. But like going to outdoor and having that, like it was neat to get to like know Coach Craig personally like that. But at the same point, I was like, it's kind of lonely. Like,
like lonely at the top.
Yeah, it is. Like it was just kind of like I was kind of like, man, like this would be a lot more fun if like we had like a relay to run the night before, or like even if like we had like a pole vaulter go and I could watch them and like just get my mind off the race. Like because the entire weekend it was just like Coach Craig and I like talking, or like me thinking about running.
Just about
and I'm like in a room by myself, like I'm just like sitting there like trying my hardest not to think about running, and that's like all I'm doing. So I think like this next year, like I know like I literally put as like my number one goal was to like qualify like our 4x4 for nationals. Like that was my number one goal. I just think that's cool. Like let us all have that experience.
I'm down for that.
Me too.
Yeah, so like that was cool. That's my number one goal. Just like get the team, get more people.
Yeah.
Like put Milliken more on the map than just like, oh, we sent a thrower indoors and we sent an 800 guy this year.
Yeah.
Like let's actually bring
Bring some people.
Yeah.
Let's show people who Milliken is.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people now too. Like in the past, like I think we've always like kind of like been like, oh, we can qualify. Like let's do it. Like let's do it. We got it. Like, and I think like even last year, like I think we were more serious than like we've ever been before. But I think there was still like a hint of that. But like I think now it's like, no, like that's what's happening. Like,
that's what's happening.
Like we said it like we're gonna do it, but it was like
We're doing it.
Yeah, we're actually like it's gonna happen. And I think it's more than like just us too. Like I think it's cool to realize that like last year there was a lot of people in a similar boat to us with the 4x4, but like now it's like we can make that jump to like qualify like like us, the freshman pole vaulter, Demo, like others too. E-Man, I don't know, Jake Sarver, like you can keep listing off people.
Yeah.
There's multiple people out there that have the talent too. So I think now it's just like putting those pieces together and like feeding off of each other's energy of those people that are like going as that to be their mission.
Yeah. The season's gonna be pretty great this year, and I think people are starting to realize it's kind of something like you said. It's not about just like doing the workout. It's like it's just little things every day that like add up over time. And I think a lot of the team is finally starting to get that. Like it's gonna take time and it's doing it every day, like 1%.
Yeah.
And it's just exciting to watch, like just seeing guys that like didn't necessarily get it last year. They're just everyone's like the team's mindset is different.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
It's exciting.
Yeah. I think like we have the potential to do something really, really, really cool, and especially like now it's difficult because the 4x4 is the last event. It's like we can't like run the 4x4 and everybody else like like it's the last event. But even in like outdoors, like our 4x1 can do good things.
We need to find energy from like those.
And if like say the for outdoor the 4x1 does that, and then we set the tone, and then Kyle does something crazy, then you know just it keeps going down the line, and
like if you start Friday with like someone winning the long jump or like someone winning the high jump, like I know Glenn and Nick going crazy like in the high jump was pretty sweet just because it was like both of them were good, but like we didn't know like that good. Yeah. So like Glenn and Jake now, like that would be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And we talked about like a lot at conference how it's like the momentum's gonna bring us, but like I also care about conference, but at the end of the day, it's like it's almost even greater than conference, and it's like to the point of like when one person qualifies for nationals, the other like it's gonna keep pushing the others even more and more and more, and stuff like that. Not just at conference because it could happen at. I mean, our 4x1 ran the best time against one team.
Nobody.
Like so it's like even if it's something like that happens, where we keep pushing each other and keep doing that at some random meet, like that could still topple dominoes.
One thing I feel like I've been struggling with like with track is I'm just thinking so far ahead, and I'm like, well, I want to like I think we can do all these things, and I'm like I need to take it one day at a time. But then at the same time, it's like, well, I want to start saying these things now, like but like, I also don't want to wish the year away. So it's like
true.
I find a balance of like I can't wait to go to nationals, but that's like halfway through the year and then the end of the year. But I'm excited either way.
It's like at a point now where it's like just showing up to practice is unacceptable. Like that shouldn't be the bare minimum anymore. Like the expectation should be that you show up with like you show up with your water bottle, like so you're drinking water the entire time. You stretch after practice. It's not just optional to go to the weight room anymore. Like you're going to the weight room. Like I remember last year Colin did a good job. Like it was just like guys would start walking in the door and it's like, hey, you come to the lift? Like you come to the lift? Like that shouldn't have to be the case anymore. It should be like, hey, no, you're not going. Like we're going to the lift. If you got class, that's fine, but you're gonna go later. Like
that is what it takes.
Yeah, exactly. Like setting that expectation. And I think like previously I think you've had people on like the Milliken team who have done a good job of doing that. But I don't think that it's been like enough people doing that to where everyone's now influenced. But I think we actually have like enough people now to set that example to where now it's not like you just have guys going back to their dorm to eat chips and play video games instead of going to a lift.
Yeah.
Or like you don't have people not showing up to a run because they're out hungover. Like more people are about the process.
Yeah.
That's something that I think is honestly the greatest factor is just like what we've all said, these little things coming together and feeding off that energy is really important too.
And really, the process, you think about it kind of two ways. Obviously, get it like the process is important, but then enjoying the process because like if you're gonna enjoy the like the end result, like I feel like the most of your memories are gonna be from going through the process, not just what happened at the end. So yeah,
I think today is gonna be a really cool example of that because we have everybody together. This is my first time to be able to train. Like I've trained with you, but no other MDLD guy.
When have you ever ran with emo? Other than like maybe that mile around the park.
Yeah, and it's like,
and forgot about that.
Yeah, and other than that, like still like I love BMO. I cannot run a mile. Period. Like I was struggling.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like I can push like I can push people and they can push me in this.
Yeah.
But, like I can't push BMO in a mile, and he can't push me because I'm not even gonna be close. So it's like everybody can learn from each other during this, and having like a giant group is gonna be really really cool. Especially if we go in with the right mindset and like, hey, we're gonna get better. This might hurt. This might suck, but who cares because we're getting better.
Exactly.
There's so many different people you can run with too, so there shouldn't be like just guys running by themselves. Like
yeah.
There was something I really like that you said, Colin, but I forgot it now. Oh well. Yeah.
Dang.
I know. Well, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
See.
Well, something about what you just said about. Shoot, I just forgot what you said. You said something. You literally just said it. Well, what I guess I was gonna go off of it and say like, when you know it's gonna hurt, I feel like it's important that you kind of have to accept the fact and brace for like the pain. Because if you tell yourself that like it's gonna be easy, then when it gets hard or when it starts to hurt, like you're more likely to give up. But when you're expecting it and ready for it to hurt, then it's like when it hits, you're like, all right, I was ready for this. Now I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna push through. Yeah. And you said something that made me think of that, but I don't remember.
No matter what.
Yeah, that's what you did. Yeah.
It's like accepting that fact of the hurt. I mean, it's like the same thing you think about in a race. Like think about your 400. Like typically last year, earlier in the year, or in years past, it's like you hit that last 100 and like arms start flailing, like that gets tight. But it's like knowing that that's going to happen prevents it longer.
Yeah.
Just because you're more like aware of like, okay, this is when it usually happens. This is when I need to be like extra like locked into like it not happening.
And I would tell myself I can't get out too fast because that's not how I run the 400. But then the more I thought of it, I was like, I'm really just like putting limitations and excuses on myself. And I was like, that's just not, I shouldn't be thinking about, I should be thinking no matter how fast I get out, I'm still going to be able to finish strong.
Yeah.
And then literally at conference, I felt the lactic earlier than I've ever felt it before. But I just like I was like, well, get her go harder before I hit the wall.
Yeah.
And then I run my fastest time 2 days in a row.
Yeah.
And it's just like
back to back PRs.
Yeah, it's just a whole, it really, you can, I had a good mindset, but I didn't realize that I put like blockers on and I didn't even realize it until like.
Dude, I was so like, and I don't even know what was going on in the prelim. Whenever you got out like a rocket, I was like, I must be walking right now. Because you were just hammering the ground for like 320 meters.
Yeah, and then you come up literally jogging by me and beat me like for the prelims.
I was up in like the top right of the bleachers. It was like me, Kemper, and a few other guys, and we're like, oh my goodness, like, Caleb, what's going on? Calm down, fast. And then you kept going. I'm like, just keep going. Like kind of like looking at each other like, what? And then obviously like you guys finished like dang near right next to each other.
We were together. Yeah.
But it's like I know we kind of talked about it last year. We have a short spinner, we have a long jumper, a 400 hurdler, and an 800 guy, all on a 4x4, running almost very, very, very similar times.
Yeah. And all of us do different training. Exactly. Like literally different people, like different coaches.
Literally, yeah.
It is cool.
It's cool that like we like now this year like we're all gonna like see each other a little bit more and like be able to push each other even more.
Yeah.
But it's like the fact that 4 completely different guys run the races completely different, all are coming together just to run like a good time to begin with.
Yeah.
Like, also, it's like running very, very similar times, very, very differently.
Yeah, very differently and different. I don't know, not necessarily different mindsets, but like, yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
Almost.
I don't think like I definitely have to I have to realize that my spot is not guaranteed, which is what's been helping me also stay motivated. Like, but
Knowing that others like
yeah,
want it, like it's a good expectation to set.
yeah, lots of guys can get that spot or can take my spot because in reality, I was technically the slowest guy out in the 4x4 by split time.
Yeah.
So my spot's not guaranteed, and I'm fighting for it. So
I kind of realized that sitting in the calf one day, and I was talking to Nolan for some reason, and he's like asking me on time, he's like, "Oh, okay," and he asked me on the 4x4, about the 4x4. He's like basically said something along the lines of like, "Is it going to get taken by a freshman?" I'm like,
Yeah.
no. Like in the back of my head, I'm like, it could, but like at the same time, it's like I'm not going to allow it. Not in the sense of I don't want a freshman to be faster than me because like
No,
if a freshman gets on, I don't care. Like that means our 4x4 is going to be good.
Yeah.
But in the sense of like I'm going to get even better and like get. I think we're all going to get that time to the point. It's like we're going to have to be splitting 47s to be able to be considered on that.
It's not a great expectation to set to be like, oh, I have to like almost being like cutthroat, like creating like a competition between teammates. But at the same point, you want it to be like a competition to where it's like you're happy for them if they're on it.
Exactly.
But then it's like encouraging you to get better. So like it's like a healthy competition that we're both talking about. Where it's like, yeah, like I'm not preying on anyone's downfall. Like I want us all to get better. I just personally want to be like that guy. Like,
and if someone gets better than me, I don't want to take their spot because like if they start running worse, I want to take their spot because I ran faster, not because they're like, I don't know if I said that right. Yeah, but like
I think I know what you mean now.
Yeah,
because I mean you have like this group of guys that are all just like seeing like how like well we did last year, and they're like, well, I want to be a part of that. Like I want to be on that. Like why can't I do it? So it's kind of like now it fuels them to like go for that, but then it also fuels us to like keep our spot and continue like getting better.
It was a big recruiting point. A lot of recruits would ask about the 4x4.
Yeah.
And like we're excited to hear about it. And it was, I mean, I like to talk about it. So that was just cool to think that like coaches probably talked it up, hyped it up too. But like when we tell them our times, it's just cool to kind of just tell how it's working out and how it's going and how it's going to be.
Well, and it's cool because you can have a lot of people relate with it because it's like, all right, if a hurdler comes in, well, hey, Dayton ran in 48, whatever. Like, you have a 100-meter runner. Hey, Colin ran this in high school. Like, look what he does now. Like,
first off, Dayton coming in the first meet of the year, running 49.4 as a freshman against D1 meet was absolutely nuts. But then when I saw him do that before me, in my head I was like, if he's doing that, then I'm about to run like a 48. And then I get out there like a 51.7 or something, and I was pissed. And I struggled with that a little bit last year, with just having him come out like that all of a sudden just way faster. And then I'm over that now. But yeah, Dayton, good job. That was nuts.
Well, it is difficult because it's like you kind of have walked around and been like, yeah, I'm top dog. Like I was the 400 guy last year, and then this guy comes in and it's like kind of shakes you a bit. Like it's like, oh, like I knew he was good.
Yeah, I knew he was fast.
Yeah, it was also just crazy too because like he ran it like so evenly. It just seemed like it was just like the whole time it was like power, 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 power. Like and also just sets a like an unnecessary expectation in your head too because he does that in the heat before, and then you literally have 2 minutes till the gun goes off, but now your game plan just completely switched.
Yeah, it was the whole mindset was weird for that day
because it was literally like, oh, I'm just gonna do the best I can, and then he runs that, and it's like, I gotta top that now. Like I like expected to top that, and at that time just seemed like daunting. Like it was like 49.4s. Like
I honestly thought though, like I would have ran better if I would have ran first. I would have ran better.
Yeah,
this just got in my head. I was like. And so I remember I got out like so slow, and I remember like kind of that thing. I got out slow, but like I was feeling, it was already kind of hurting. And instead of that mindset where I was like, oh, I can keep going, like it was kind of that mindset where I was like, oh, I didn't run it how I ran it, so this race is gonna be good. So like, there's a lot of things led up to that. But yeah, that was also dope when you did that because I just knew that our 4x4 was gonna be nuts, which it wasn't technically nuts at that point yet.
Yeah, it wasn't.
I remember that meet. It was the same one, but instead of me, it was E-Man. And like coach, and I was talking to Steve about it, and he was like, "Yeah, like we're going for the record at this meet." He's like, "May as well, like it's a bank track, you're gonna do all this stuff." And then, like you guys didn't do bad, but like
we didn't run great.
It was against like the D1 team and all that stuff. And then back of my head, I'm like, okay. And then I talked to Steve after the meet. It was like, "How's my 200?" He's like, "Good. I want to see you on a 4x4." And at that point, I'm like, are you like no? Like what?
Yeah.
And then put me in it at what meet was it? Rose Holman,
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
where I was the first leg. And
I didn't run at that meet. I don't know.
You did.
Yeah, I do
screamed
remember
at
that.
you.
I
Because it
was
was the
running.
sprint squad versus
No.
the distance team.
Because
Yeah.
I was first leg, and he's like beat something into the break, and so I beat the guy to the break. Like went a little bit harder than I probably should have. I remember on the back curve, like the back stretch, the beginning of it, you were sitting there cheering me on. I was like, "Let's go!"
Yeah.
I just came at you with it, and then right after that, I died.
Wait, we're talking about outdoor.
No,
Indoor.
Rose Holman. You ran the 200 that day.
Oh yeah. Okay, I remember.
And then and then the next meet was like one of the weird ones that we ran, where we ran the 4x4 we ran all year.
Oh.
And we did decent.
Yeah, we
Did
did.
Did we?
It kind of took.
We lost, but like the time
Yeah.
was
Oh, it was
so
better.
good.
Yeah.
I think that was like we hopped up to like third on the all time list.
Uh-huh.
with
Yeah.
that, and we were all kind of like,
Where did that come
yeah.
from?
I wasn't expecting it, but
Well, a lot of the even outdoor was like we all had our times, and so a lot of it was Colin because we kind of knew all of us were going to run, and we thought we'd be a little bit faster. And then Colin all of a sudden improves by 3 seconds in one meet, and you're like, all right, well, yeah, like
especially because like indoor wasn't the best,
yeah.
especially with how it ended. But like even I was significantly behind you guys
Uh-huh.
in times in the splits.
And then you weren't.
Greenville, and I was right there.
Yeah.
So that definitely helped a lot. But
Yeah.
making me promising for indoor because
Yeah.
we were off it because of the fact that pretty much me. So I can even be right there with you guys.
Oh yeah.
I'm excited for like the strength aspect of it too. Like you're gonna get some strength that work that you have that he's gonna maintain more of like what he did like last summer. Just because I think Caleb would agree, like it was like build all summer, and then it was kind of like just Steve's plan was different from like Craig's philosophy. So then it was like build all summer, so then you'd go back to like step one, right?
Yeah.
When August starts, so you just like crawl back down.
And I had to go back up. I feel like I
was
had
like a
to
roller
work back
coaster.
up. Yeah.
When like he just kind of had like this whole season of just like
Yeah.
you were just like,
Like,
That's right. I didn't think about it like that.
like it worked great. Like I had a really good summer like, where I was just base building, like lifting and like keeping myself ready.
yeah.
And then Caleb was grinding, like getting better.
Yeah.
And then Steve was like, all right, we're not even gonna touch blocks for the first 5 weeks. Only 3-point starts. And it's like it makes sense because he recruits some people that like aren't 100% like
Track
Track.
IQ.
yeah, and it's like they're athletes, but like they don't like
Yeah.
like even me, like I was there, like let's be honest. And it's like that's gonna help them, but it's like people who've been grinding all summer,
Yeah.
it's not necessarily gonna be 100% beneficial to them.
It's where the individual like training more comes in. I feel like you need that. People are at different levels. Like you can't just like you kind of have to realize like where people are at and accommodate for them. Yeah, especially at the college level, I think. Which Craig does a really good job of that. And yeah,
I hope we see more of that all around this year too.
I agree.
I like I feel like all the coaches could use a sheet, like just how he puts on an Excel sheet.
Yeah.
But
Week by week.
Yeah, and speaking of training, Jake, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
What was the thought process behind you deciding not to run cross this year, or like you're running with the team but you're not doing the meets? Like
Yeah, I think the past 2 years I've gotten like hurt. So like sophomore year, I don't know if I actually got hurt sophomore year, but I think like I was just like mid-season hit and I was just so burnt. Like I was like I don't want to like even go to practice. I don't want to go to a meet. I just want like time off. Like my body's tired, my legs hurt, and I think it was just like a negative mindset. So I was like I don't really know what I think, and then like, but then like track was all fine just because it was like I was like having fun, whatever. But then junior year, I rolled my ankle pretty bad mid-October and like kind of like hobbled around on it for like next month, and then only could run on the boost. I think I was like, this just isn't worth it to like try and like continue to try and force being a cross country athlete. And then like I think going like even deeper, like Cray and I had a pretty good talk, and like so I think Ben, Cray, and I would all agree that like I was more of like a 4.8 guy, like more than like an 8.15 guy. So a lot of 8.15 guys do cross country. because they like get the miles, run with the team, like all that. But 4-8 guys more trained with like a sprint group. But we're trying to find a hybrid between those to where it's like, okay, like I still build all this mileage, but like I'm doing sprint workouts. Like, so then it's not like I'm just like swagging out miles on the legs and like they're just dead all the time. But it's like I have the opportunity to like work on speed and like building that base at the same point. But Cray, like in college, like he honestly thinks like a lot of his like kind of like maybe where he didn't get all of his success was because he went like too cross country focused.
Yeah.
Like it was like his first 2 years he was at a Division II school, transferred to UNC, and then his senior year he kind of like bought into XC altogether and was like, I'll become a cross country runner. Like, yeah, let's do it. But then like got hurt, and then it was like just didn't have the track season he wanted. And then it was like he was like, well, like what happens if I don't do that? Like what happens if I kept my same training and like didn't try to mess with the script in my last year? So I think that gives me like a little bit of insight too to be like, well, I don't really want to go full cross country either when I'm not like really a cross country runner.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think it's gonna pay off then. I mean, from what I'm seeing,
I think it will
it's
too.
definitely gonna pay off, and just those meets definitely kind of. It's like you're not. I mean, you're obviously working out, beating your body up, but like those meets kind of beat your body up differently.
They do.
So like you're taking that out and getting just training. So
I'm beating up my body more in a way that I think is like beneficial for me.
Yeah.
So like it's like extra weightlifting or like extra plyos rather than like, all right, let's go run 5 miles on grass, and then now my hips are locked up for the next 3 days. And just because I don't think that was my like recipe for like growth. When I think this more is like fits more in my body and like my build. But I think it's also beneficial for the team too. Like I think Bebo would argue that like I should run, or others would
he
too.
definitely would.
But
he probably shook his head and told him.
He's probably shaking it right now. But I think that like it allows me though to like work out with him.
Yeah.
Like, so like for instance, like on Tuesday I guess it was Wednesday we worked out this week. He did a 7-mile tempo. Like the first 5 were controlled, and then the last 2 were really hard. But it like my workout was I did 2 miles of just like easy tempo with like the group behind him, and then the last 2 I did with him. So like it allowed him to get through 5 miles by himself where he'd have no problem. But then I could run those last 2 with him to like keep him accountable, keep him in check. And like really we ran together, but he probably more dogged on me. But like I think it like allowed him to just put himself out of his body a little bit since he was worried about me.
Yeah.
And like also just held him accountable. Like maybe he wouldn't ran as fast if he was by himself. So like that allows me to help him. It allows me to help the groups behind me because then I can like help lead them in a way and like guide them. So I think there's benefits to both. I think it also like it also sets a nice example for guys who are like doing cross country but middle distance focused. That like it can be done different ways. Like it gives them a voice to know that like I'm not racing and like I'm still on the team.
Yeah.
Like I still hang out with the guys. I'm friends with them all. But like they're middle distance guys too, and we all have the same struggles. So it's nice for them to have like an outlet and seeing what I'm doing and like this is just a different like training plan than like most other people.
Yeah.
So will it work? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like it's just something to try. And like maybe more people will do it next year.
Yeah, that's true. I'm excited to see.
Yeah, we'll see for sure.
So, where are you gonna be at next year?
I don't know.
What are your current offers on the table, or maybe not offers, but talking?
3 coaches I've talked to: Notre Dame, Kansas, and Arizona State.
Arizona State.
Yeah.
Which one? Where's Alyssa going?
She's not sure yet.
Oh.
So the way it works is there'll be one more coach I possibly will call to. Coach Craig used to like run at UNC, so he called the UNC coach. Yeah. So that'd be pretty sweet.
That would be.
So I take the like business management test tomorrow in Springfield. Take that, and I'll take it again in November. And then I'll apply to the schools.
Oh, the GRE thingy?
Yeah. I'm gonna take the GMAT, the same thing.
GMAT.
Yeah. Like GMAT's more of like a management test, I think, and GRE is like standardized testing.
Okay.
So I'll take visits to those schools. I've just kept talking with the coaches. Yeah, it's been neat. Like it's just cool to like hear like some of these coaches. Like, do you know who Justin Robinson is? Do you know who that is? Maybe.
He ran like
40 6 in high school in Missouri,
Wow.
but he ran 44 this past year for Arizona State, and then ran on the mixed relay at Worlds.
That's awesome.
Wow.
But so he's like on the Arizona State 4x4, so it's like cool to like hear like the coach like talking about him, or like
Yeah.
or it's here like cool to hear like the Notre Dame coach talk about like Year in the Goose, who just set the American record in the mile. Like
Yeah.
and in Kansas, there's an Olympian 800 runner who trains at Kansas, like with the coach. So like he like runs the workouts like with whoever is in the middle distance group
Yeah.
for Kansas. So like it's just neat to hear like all these coaches talk about these big names, and then like I'm involved in that. So I'll take visits to those, apply. I don't really know which one's my favorite right now though. Like I think each one has different things. Like I think Arizona State fits like logistically, like
Yeah.
so depending on if Alyssa gets in the PA school, if she gets into a program, it'll be in Phoenix. So like then I would go to ASU just because my priority would be to like be near her. I don't really want to do distance for however long. Like it's just not really worth it to me at this point in life. So Arizona State would be my choice. If she didn't get into PA school, I would find a 1-year program to where I could just go run for a year and get my master's, which Notre Dame and Kansas do offer. So
which would be sick. And I think, like the people you're gonna be around, like surround yourself with, is gonna like you're definitely gonna like level up on the track.
yeah, bro. Oh, dude, some of their facilities are just nuts. Like Notre Dame was telling me that like Wednesdays and Sundays they have dedicated AT time. So like it's like you schedule an hour block of AT, and like the AT just does pretty much whatever you need. So it's just like
that sounds amazing.
Yeah, like I need a massage. Like I want to get in the like ice bath after I'm done. I want to like get in like the cryptology or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about? The freezing.
Yeah, cryo.
Yes, cryotherapy.
That's awesome.
Like that, or like let's hop in the sauna, like different things like that. And they're just like there's like different AT rooms for the sports too. So it's not like we have to like here we have to show like football, soccer,
I feel like I have to,
volleyball.
pull legs just to get looked at.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. I have to like break a bone just to be able to get in there. Like it's like here it's like you get like your own dedicated hour to go, and like it's just you.
Yeah,
it's like that's sweet.
I still love you though, Pat. You're probably not gonna watch it.
True. Love all the ATs. Need more space. Yeah, need more space. That's cool. And then like the Kansas one's neat because it's like only what they do is they like don't run into town. They run just in the country roads. So Lawrence, Kansas is like a town of like I think it's like 150,000, 120,000 maybe. But it's like just like KU and then like the surrounding area.
That's it.
So it's like basically a college town, and then it's like all around it though. It's just like country roads.
Yeah.
Huh.
So like
You're kinda used to
yeah,
it.
in the you think about it, like trying to train like Rocky style.
yeah. So like they're like we put all the guys in vans and we drop them off in the middle of nowhere and then just run on dirt roads.
Find the way back.
You're kind of
Yeah.
used to that a little bit, except for it's Jammer's, I guess.
True.
But
True.
Jammer's in the middle of nowhere.
But very similar though. Yeah. But like that just sounded neat, and then like Arizona State's a complete switch up because then you're like in this like metropolitan area of Phoenix and Tempe, and like ASU obviously is the rep for a party school, so which like obviously I wouldn't be like partaking in as like a graduate student and probably not living on campus, but like it still has that like
I can visit you because my grandparents live somewhat close. I live in Maricopa, which is like really close to Tempe.
Oh seriously?
Yeah.
Oh nice.
Or Tempe.
Tempe, yeah. I don't even know. Honestly. I pronounced it as Tempe to the coach, so I hope that's right.
Tempe. I feel like it can't. It has to be Tempe.
I feel like it's not that big of a deal either.
Yeah.
True.
I guess the Arizona State didn't get your name wrong.
True. Notre Dame did. Yeah, that was disrespectful.
Just Shumaker.
I think they said Millican.
Oh.
With an A.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of an I.
I say Shumaker sometimes, and I literally know that your name is Shumaker. Like I just do it. It just comes out like that.
It happens.
Hey, so I saw Notre Dame doesn't have any 100 or 200.
Yeah, join.
Yeah. You go. It might be a package deal.
That's also like a thing too. Like I don't really know what I think of like. It's not like a super complete team. The 4x4 runs like I think slower than us, or like a very similar time.
They're in 316.
Yeah,
Look at it.
that's what I thought too. Just because it's like it's cool. They have a really awesome distance program, but it's just like they don't have a sprint team. Which like Kansas does. Like,
It'd be cool to be a part of that and see that.
Yeah, Kansas's 4x4 runs like 308, 306.
That's nuts.
Like you run 47 this year. Like there's a shot.
Yeah.
So like That's pretty neat. They definitely have like the most complete team, I would say, is Kansas. Arizona State's probably more sprints heavy, and then Notre Dame's definitely more like distance heavy. Yeah, that's how I would describe each one. But then UNC is also a pretty complete team, also. So we'll see. And also, it's September 21st.
You haven't
maybe?
ran anything.
Yeah. Like Coach Cray, I know he really wants me to run a couple meets before I decide, just because he's like, if you run faster, then you might get like more money offered.
That's true.
Rather than just like committing and then it's like I run faster and it's like, oh, like I could have got an extra like $5,000 or something like that. Like that would be cool.
See, that's a good idea.
Yes, we'll see.
Yeah.
Yep. It's exciting though. Big plans for the future.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where everyone ends up.
I know.
I'm gonna have to do like a vlog like a year later, and like at the end of documentaries, it has like it pauses the screen and like this person ended up doing this and that.
Yeah.
I think that'd be funny. I literally had that idea like yesterday.
That would be cool.
That would literally be like like all these guys went to go somewhere else. Colin's still running.
Yeah. Hey, what's your plans after you graduate? Cole, what's your plan next year?
Still running.
Yeah.
Be back here, live with Kemper.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's sad though, like thinking like Colin's an old man now too.
I know.
All of us upperclassmen, like it was funny, like a video came up the other day for me, like back from freshman year, and I was like, wow, I like could put myself back in that situation like now and it'd feel no different.
I know.
Yeah.
I tried to get too emotional just thinking about this is just gonna be the last time with a lot of things.
Yeah. A lot of things.
A lot of things. And then the last home meet, I'm gonna be in Germany for the NBA. And I really wanted to I would rather miss senior night than like the first senior night than because that's really like the night the seniors kind of like actually are like, all right, this is
The last one in Germany.
yeah.
Bro, you're gonna miss like
I know.
you're gonna miss like a little camp out there.
I know. I'm gonna have to like FaceTime you guys. I
For
don't know what
real.
time it'll be.
It'll
But
probably be just crazy weird times for you.
yeah. But I mean, I'll do it.
We'd have to go for the facility record, but us two,
What's the facility?
Dayton and Eamon, Caleb will be there.
Imagine we get it.
Caleb's in Germany. It's the senior night. We set the facility record.
In
Caleb's
honor
on
of
FaceTime.
Caleb.
He's like, yeah, good job, guys.
I'll come back for that
Wish
sixth
I was
year.
there.
Wait, yeah.
Then he won't be there.
Yeah, that's true. Then yeah.
Or you come back for a 6th year, come back your 5th year.
Yeah, true.
I only have one outdoor season left though, which I'm definitely I won't say definitely, but the odds of me using it are very, very low.
True. I don't even know what you would do. Like, you're just gonna take a semester off and then come back and get like a.
I feel like I
Take
could
a couple
coach
classes.
the first semester.
Oh,
and
true.
then-
Make it a 2-year MBA program now.
Yeah. Just get like 4 minors.
I'm interested if BMO will come back.
Yeah, I know. He said
I don't
he
think
said
so.
the chances of both you guys coming are pretty low, but he changed his from like there's like a 10% chance now or something like
Yeah.
It was literally like 99. Like if something terribly goes wrong, 1% has to hear it. And like I asked him like a week later, it's like 10% chance now. I'm like changing.
that. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
changing.
I agree.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see.
But I'm gonna check. Is I recording 4K? Yeah, I don't. That would
Dude, that'd be tragic if.
Oh, it's still going.
Okay, good.
Oh my goodness.
What?
We're at an hour.
Oh wow. How long did you guys talk last time?
We're doing like 30 and 47.
Yeah.
Oh,
But I feel like it's been
It's
good.
also there's more people. Like there's another person.
true.
Well, I mean, I have more questions. Like, I had at least 2 more, but I don't know. Like, do you guys have to be anywhere? Or do you...
I was gonna be somewhere at 11. I'll text him. I'll be there late.
Oh.
It's. I guess I whispered right into the mic.
Did you hear what he said?
Take a test.
Yeah. Well, are we gonna keep going then? I mean, this is a nice little
Yeah, keep going.
intermission in the middle. Okay.
Yeah, for real.
Well, I guess I'll ask this question. Sorry, you good? Just real quick.
You can ask real quick.
I don't really know how to ask it, but I mean, not really, but like I know you got like business ideas and stuff going on. Like I just kind of want to hear about that more. So you got some.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
that was what I was answering right now.
Oh really?
Yeah, I sent this too. Yeah, so I should wear my hat. I got a hat in the mail yesterday for it. But yeah, I have a friend. I met him like last summer named Sean. Uh, he has his own like consulting firm or business. For the past like 3 years, hasn't like done like a ton with it. Kind of just like enough to like get paid for school, like just work outside like on his own, rather than getting like a part-time job. Um, and he invited me to become my partner this summer. So like then it's like we like each own like 50% of it. So that's been super busy. We've been making pretty cool websites for people. So that's definitely something I'm excited about. And that's honestly kind of like pursued or pushed me even more and led me down the direction more of an MBA. Like even running honestly, just because it's like right now it's not big enough to where like you can make it your full-time job, but like if I take like an MBA over that next year, it could grow enough to where
Yeah.
I'm done with the MBA and then it can be my full-time job. So then it's like, okay, now I don't have to go look for jobs wherever. I can just like get this business degree, have a better understanding of how the business operates as a whole, and then like be able to just go right into that rather than like going and getting some like filler job for the time being, just like while I'm waiting for this to grow. Um, so that's been pretty awesome, like knowing that like that's possible. Basically, what we do is we build out technology solutions for like small businesses to help with like their strategy and growth. So like what we have like been doing for like this like nonprofit we're working with like anorexia. We're like building out reports about their donations to try and like increase their like who like increase the amount of people who donate like more than once, but then like try and make them into like subscriptions. So it's like someone might donate like if I donate $8, like we're not going to target that person, but like someone who's donating like $10 every like 4 months, now can we make that into like a subscription and be like, hey, let's like, would you be willing to maybe donate $5 every month? So then you're increasing your donations, but then it's like less like per month than what we're doing. It's like that's like a strategy we're doing, or like one thing right now is we're like we use like this tool on LinkedIn. Like basically it turns like you like search up like an industry. So we search like nonprofits and then you can put in all these parameters. So like it's like the parameter good nonprofits in like the state of Illinois, and then we want people who are like the CEOs or like HR directors or whatever. It gives you all their contact information, and then what we do is then we also find we use Chat GPT to find personalized messages on their LinkedIn's using like one of the API tools on there.
Yeah.
So then like all of a sudden now you have this data for their name, email, their business name, their location, and personalized message, and then you can run an AI to send like emails to them.
That's sick.
So like what we're doing now is like running this campaign to where we invite them to like a webinar or like a call to talk about like donation strategies for nonprofits. So the target is like nonprofits in like a specific state, and then we're inviting them to meet to talk about strategies for donations. So then where we can like kind of lead that into like a website development project, or like where we can do like monthly analytics for them to get more money. So that's like marketing with like sales into like
that's really cool,
actual
though.
IT work. So like that's like something we're doing, but yeah, right now it's like under his name. It's called Sean Miller Media, but then we're gonna like rebrand in January to like something new.
S&J.
It could be. I don't really know what we're thinking yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're slowly coming up with logos and like color scheme and like stuff like that, which would be pretty cool. Yeah, we do a lot of cool work for clients. Businesses in town, like Main Place Real Estate. Do you know what that is? Like the green like signs kind of around town. Yeah, we do like all the websites, stuff like that. Which should be neat. Yeah, I had another like this is also just a random idea I had the other day. I was talking to Reese about it. I wonder if there's like a way that you could like create like an app on your phone to where you like take a picture of a document, and then instead of like writing, you could like type the text into like text boxes.
I feel like that.
And then
I mean, that's a good idea. I feel like it seems like that would be a thing.
Yeah, it'd be weird. But then I was like also thinking then like, is there another way then that you could like go back over the document and then like the camera like lasers it onto like the page?
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't honestly know.
If you now like in screenshots, like if you take a screenshot of something, you can highlight text.
Oh,
like,
seriously?
Copy paste it, and so like
that's pretty sweet.
And like, here, I don't know my photos are.
It'd be a weird technology. The technology aspect is what I think would be weird. Like, how would you get it back onto the paper?
Like I screenshotted this, and you can literally just straight up, maybe
Oh, yeah, wow.
from the thing. So like obviously that's something very obvious.
That's
But
pretty crazy, though.
I think you can in some pictures. Yeah, there's a picture of that.
Dude, that's pretty sweet.
And so
I actually didn't know that, though.
there's definitely ways you can do it.
Uh-huh.
I don't know
Because I have to think they're using some sort of like AI tool or like machine learning type thing to like understand that that's text. So my thought then would be like, okay, take a picture of this document. I understand this is text, like similar to how that's doing it.
Yeah.
But then now I create like a text box
Yeah.
beneath it,
Yeah.
like in like white space, so then where you could type, and then it would just be coming up with the technology now to where like, how does that like, you like have to put your camera back over and the camera like lasers it down, or like, how does that work? Or like, part of me wondered if it was like a way you could do it with like light, like to where it's like it's such a bright light it like burns the paper in a way. But then you have to figure out like the amount of light because you don't want to burn like right through the paper.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just a random idea came up.
Well,
with.
there's like there's a at Midwest Fiber we were printing like there's like I don't know what it's called. It doesn't use ink. It's like paper, but it's like it's kind of like a receipt isn't like ink. Like when it gets hot, it like changes it black. So like it would like I don't know. Can't remember what it's called. But, like it kind of just uses like the heat from the light and it writes something out. It's like you don't necessarily wouldn't. Yeah. You'd be burning it. It wouldn't be. It doesn't have to get that hot. Like it would be burning.
With heat
like,
from the light and it writes it. That's like kind of what I'm exactly thinking.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I don't know. It was just like a really. Well, the other day, how I thought of it was Coach Kirk passed out a form and I didn't have a pen. I was like, this would be really easy if I could do it on my phone. You can do it on a Google form, but I was like, oh, like since he didn't make a Google form, like what if I had like a document and I needed to like sign it?
Yeah.
I could like picture it, put my signature on there, and then like put it back. I don't know.
Might be something to look into.
I don't know. Yeah, that another thing that was really random that Ben and I have been talking about is how to make GPS golf balls. Because like we were thinking about it more and more. Obviously, like Titleist and like those companies wouldn't want to make them because like if you start making GPS golf balls, then their golf ball sales go down.
That's true.
That's a
Yeah.
good point.
So then it's like there's like all these like there's a couple other like smaller companies working on it, but like the biggest thing with them is like they can figure out how to make them, but like how can we actually have it hit like a golf ball?
Yeah, because it would like change the weight and like, you gotta put stuff inside of it.
Yeah, but there's kind of a market for it because it's like if you do get this technology to work, you all of a sudden just take away all the business from these big companies.
Yeah,
that's really crazy.
Yeah, because it's like, why would they make it? Because then all of a sudden, like, their regular Pro V1s for Titleist are just gonna like not gonna sell anymore.
Yeah,
because people can just get GPS golf balls. So it's like they're not making them, or at least like that's what we're reading online is that they wouldn't make them, but like other companies are making, but they just don't have like enough funding.
Could also make a ball. It's kind of not for real, but hits the water and you push a button and it inflates.
That'd be kind of cool. Like it floats back up.
Yeah, has a laser beam, like a bat signal. So if you can't find it, has a laser.
That would actually be sweet. The laser up in the air.
Yeah.
The only problem
would
with
be
that
cool.
is like if they lose it in the water, they're probably like even then like I know where it is. Like I'm not gonna go get it. But then it's like
there was a lot of other things.
Don't hit it in the water
because we were like, all right, you have to also charge them all probably.
Yeah, that'd be weird.
Because also like, how's it going to connect to the phone?
Yeah,
Bluetooth probably.
Like wireless, like you set on like a little pad maybe.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, but instead of a pad, I was thinking like almost like a little cup.
Yeah,
like same idea, just like rounded to hold the ball, and then you could just like plug it into the wall, or like have like a cord that connects to the side of it.
Car charger.
Yeah, charge it all the way to the match.
Yeah.
That's a random one Ben and I have talked about. I haven't honestly done anything with it. I'd be like curious to figure out like how much would that all be to like make? Like how much would it be to like? I can't imagine the like material for a ball is very expensive, but you gotta find like the right Bluetooth chip, GPS, and like properly like structure it.
It's getting hit pretty hard, so I
don't want to break.
Yeah.
Plus, like it has to hit at least very, very similar to a golf ball. And so it's like you have to figure that out too.
Yeah.
You can probably make one with a GPS in it, but it's like then does it fly like a golf ball?
Yes,
it
has to fly.
I had a baseball as a kid that told you how fast it would you throw it and stuff. And like so it was a baseball, but then like it had like this little plastic screen on it. Like, if I were to actually use this, it's gonna get destroyed.
Yeah. Exactly. We gotta figure out how to like make it sturdy enough so that stuff doesn't break inside. How does it hit like a golf ball? And then like how can it also be most like cost effective to make?
Yeah.
Because there's no point in doing it if it's gonna be $10 a golf ball. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. But like what we were kind of thinking about is like what if then you instead of buying like 12 Pro V1s that is like $35 or whatever, or like $40, what if you could buy 4 of these for 40, and then they take like $2 to make or something like that.
Yeah.
Then you're making like $8 for the thing, plus the like packaging of it.
Yeah.
But then like you're making $32 profit per box or something like that.
It's not bad.
Different ways of thinking about it. But like,
Yeah.
I don't know if that'd be an exact price.
It's an idea.
Yeah, I'd be curious to like figure out how much it actually would be to like make that. So yeah, we'll see. Yeah. The next big business idea.
All right, well, I guess we're almost at an hour, or we are at an hour. So
Probably got a lot of content.
I have a last question, unless Colin has one. Because I mean, we haven't talked about Jesus at all.
Yeah.
This one. So I just kind of want to ask you, like how have you grown in your faith like this year? And I guess kind of just have your story of like, because like, did you go to church as a kid, like that kind of thing? Like, you don't have to get your whole thing, like get super deep, because we're already an hour in. But just kind of like talk about it.
I'm glad you asked that. I was actually waiting for this question. Yeah, so my story isn't super long, just because I don't have like as much experience like as you two. But like, I think kind of my walk through faith has been, used to go to church like high school, middle school. Actually, not even really high school, middle school. Probably like most Sundays, but like the Sunday school thing, like not like actual like church service. And like hearing like the sermon and such, it was just like, oh, let's go play games and eat snacks and stuff.
Yeah.
So like I just honestly didn't really pay attention. I was just like messing around with my friends in the back of the room and stuff like that. So I think like now getting into like church and like Christianity and like understanding more what it's about, like getting to know God, it's been like very eye-opening to like everything that like he does within our lives. And like honestly like what he preaches through his word in the Bible is like really powerful to me to see like how we should like be acting as Christians. So I think kind of like high school really didn't do it much. Freshman year, sophomore year, like maybe went on like Christmas or like Easter, but then like really junior year, spring semesters when I started going to church more. Most Sundays, I'd say, not every Sunday, most Sundays. Didn't go to FCA though, or like Avada, or even like the track FCA on Wednesday nights. I was like, oh, I'm going to church, like I'm doing better. And then like this summer, I think I tried to do better about like reading and like understanding the Bible. Just because it was like I'd go to church and I wouldn't have any idea, which is what I've talked to you both about. Like I would just ask Jessel questions after, like I was really like, who is Saul? Like something like that, which is like pretty like easy to understand now that like I know. Like something like that, or like what is the Holy Spirit even, like it just because I was like when they reference the Holy Spirit, like what's that actually mean? So I think like I remember sitting in downtown cafe with Bimo and Jessel, asking Jessel these questions, and I was like, man, I should just read. Like I just need to read. So I think that's what's inspired me to read more. And now coming into the school year, church every Sunday, FCA on Sunday nights, trying to read the FCA book about like being a Christian athlete like before FCA, so I understand like what's being talked about before we read it, and like have like kind of like a thought process for questions and answers. And then this Sunday I'm gonna go to Avada. I'm gonna hear Jessel speak. Yeah, me too. It'll be really cool. So that on Sunday, and then I've been reading for like 30 minutes, 2 chapters, listen to some worship music Monday, Wednesday, Fridays to start, and then I'm gonna add in like it's gonna be my second week of doing it. I might add in another day next week.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm trying to like slowly work my way up to trying to do it like every day.
Yeah. Honestly, it's like really refreshing, like because like, whenever we do stuff together, it's like just cool. To, like I didn't realize how much you didn't know. Like the questions that you were usually asking to are usually like really good questions. I feel like that always make me think. And it's like, oh, I didn't really think about him being like kind of new to it again or back around like you did. They just kind of like, oh, like I don't know. It's just really cool to see like how you've grown, like how your questions have kind of like they're just like kind of
developing.
It's just really cool to see. Definitely like some answered prayers, and then like it's just awesome like seeing you at FCA. And
Thanks.
I'm actually interested in like you're one thing you're really good at, just asking questions, whether it's just in general, just about like everything. And you like ask questions like I don't even think about, like it's like I don't even think about it looking at it like that way, and it actually like makes me think about it too in ways that I would have never
Yeah.
look at it.
I also like the idea too of like asking you guys because I think it allows you, like, it's not just like. Correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like there's benefit of you guys answering too. Because it's not challenging maybe necessarily you, but it allows you to like actually fully understand like the Bible and like what Jesus is saying, rather than just being like, oh, I read it. Like it's like now someone's asking me about it, and I'm like being kind of like tested on it. Like, like when I ask who Saul is, and then you guys telling me his story is like nice because it's like okay, like you guys understand what's going on, or like when I ask about like the Holy Spirit to Jessel, like that was like special too, or just like different things within Matthew, and then now I'm reading First Corinthians, which has been really good.
Yeah.
I'm on 12.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm reading Romans right now. Well, we didn't finish Matthew as a group.
Yeah.
Like did you finish reading it?
No.
We should just start it back.
I agree.
Yeah.
I finished it, but like
I did too.
But
But
again, but
we could just like talk.
yeah, even if we just talk about it.
Yeah, we just gotta find time. But yeah, that's it's been awesome. Yeah,
I enjoy it. Like I really do. It makes me also like I think just like interpret life and daily life a lot better too. Like how I'm acting, what I'm saying. I'm really trying to like what I discussed. To like BMO, and I think Colin was there too actually in our small group. Like the son that I'm really working on is not saying his name in vain.
yeah.
So like whenever I say it, like I'm like catch myself and like repeat it and not say it.
Yeah.
Like trying to practice that. Just because honestly I have a really good habit of that. And then like I think it also just helps a lot too, like understanding like in reading the Bible, because I think I pray with a lot more meaning and like effect. Like instead of me just praying and being like, hey, like dear God Jesus, like please let me do this tomorrow, this tomorrow, this tomorrow, this tomorrow. All right, amen. Like
it's like understand it more.
Yeah,
it's not just like asking for things.
It's a relationship.
Yeah,
that was
a
big
relationship.
Thing. I think Colin actually like said that to me one point, that where it stuck out, where he was like, Colin's like, when you pray, you're building a relationship. It's a friendship like with your father.
Yeah.
Not your friendship. Yeah, a relationship with your father. I'm sorry. So it's like, how do you like what's that relationship to you? It's not just you asking him things. Like how would he feel if you just asked him things? Like you should be talking to him like about what's going on in your life, and like asking about like him, and like talking about you, and like it's building that relationship. And like there should be like gratitude within it, and like forgiveness. And it shouldn't just be you asking him for things like a genie. Because I honestly, being completely honest, like that's probably what I did from like last year until like all my life was just like this. Like I have a test tomorrow. Please let me get like A plus, whatever. Like, not even like do the best of my ability, but just like A plus, or like objective things. So that's been really powerful.
And that's like literally the main that's why Christianity is different. Like the other ones, like it's not it's literally like a religion. You're supposed to follow this, follow that, and this is a relationship. And while we do, there is rules. Like it's not about following the rules. Like that's what's also different is like it's like a gift. It's not that we can work for. It's like a reward. Like it's a gift because we have salvation, which is through saved by grace through faith. Like it's just really cool to see that like that's just like the main difference. Like it's forming a relationship, and it's like a gift. It's not something we can just work towards. You know, like it's like I work this hard to get this reward. Like it's a gift.
And like the more and more you deepen your relationship with Christ, it's like the more and more you will want to and find yourself conforming to those rules.
Yeah,
it's like those will come along with it. It's like because you want to be according to His will, not just like, oh, I have to do this or else God's not gonna love me. Like He's gonna love you.
And the rules kind of show you like how like messed up like you are in a way. If that makes sense.
And most of the rules aren't even like, or the rules aren't like terrible. They're not like, oh no, I can't kill someone. Like I shouldn't lie. Like these are still like, even today, like for the most part, very very like normal and good rules to have. Like most of them are laws. It's like still like they're objectively good. So
man, why Jesus died for us?
And I also think it's one of those things that I kind of look at it for granted because like I grew up in the church like constantly. Like I like these things since I was like a kid. Like ever since I can remember growing up in the church, learning these stories and how there's people who don't. And it's like I take that for granted, one, but it's also like I sometimes go like talk about it like at FCA or at like whatever it is, I'll talk about it and realize some people might not know, and then that's like, oh, like it's also my job to help teach that, because
Yeah.
it's like I'm in like a leadership position. It's like I need to help people with that too, not just like, oh, that is good and move on. It's like also my responsibility to help with that.
Yeah.
And I saw a video about like didn't think it's just like when your testimony is that you grew up in it, it's just not like, oh, I don't want to hear this, not as cool. But it's like I don't remember how I worded it, but like it is cool to think about actually, like you didn't have to like necessarily go through the same things. Like I don't know how to explain it, but like it is cool that you grew up in it because it never had to like have those experiences. I don't know how to explain it exactly, but I think you kind of understand what I'm saying. All right, well, I think it's a good
Anything
place
else?
to end
I
it.
don't think so. Yeah.
I'm good.
All right.
All right.
Sounds good.
Number 3
Hey,
is
should we end it with the dap?
perfect app.
Was that
or no?
Oh, there we go.
That was it.